Apple Car is one of the most confusing big secret projects Apple has been working on for years.
Driving electric car may be Apple's next big thing.
Could this be a self-driving car?
They're a very secretive company. There are not a lot of details out.
Is this a bigger launch than the iPhone, you think?
I think that's a summer reveal.
Does that mean that Apple has a car coming?
Yes, they definitely will have a car.
So that Apple was assembling a team under the name of Project Titan.
So many rumors. The alleged car will be released in 2020. Then it was pushed to 2024.
Not there with the final designs yet. This car is still in a pre-prototype stage.
What exactly does this mean?
A vehicle that has no steering wheel, no pedals.
I don't want anyone to go run out and start buying things.
What Google's doing. How do you assess what they're doing?
I wouldn't say, Google's a competitor. They're not a car company. So.
Apple?
Yeah, that'll be more direct.
Apple SVP of software Craig Rederighi was skeptical about the whole project. Tim Cook rarely visited the development teams, and then multiple car execs Apple hired were leaving the project, and then the whole thing was reset multiple times. But what is actually going on, and are they going to make the car or not? And if yes, when it will be released? Well, let's find out. For the past few years, Apple has explored two paths for the car. One that's kind of semi-autonomous, like what you see with most Teslas today, think advanced steering and acceleration, and another one that was fully self-driving, one that you could literally sit back, relax, and let the car do all the work.
We're focusing on autonomous system. Clearly, one purpose of autonomous systems is self-driving cars, and we sort of see it as the mother of all AI projects.
The project passed many hands, from Bob Mansfield coming out of retirement in 2016 to head up the old effort, then leaving in 2020, all the way to SVP of AI John Giandria leading the project for a year, but then eventually it all went under the leadership of Kevin Lynch.
So the new person in charge, his name is Kevin Lynch. He was one of the major pioneers behind the Apple Watch. He's not a car expert, he's not an autonomy expert, but they do have the right people under him that he's working with to really push this thing forward.
Kevin Lynch, who used to be the brain behind Apple Watch software, and before that, he was at Adobe defending Flash. His goals for the car were not just to catch up to Tesla and the EV market, but leapfrog all of them. So Lynch pushed for a car that would be fully autonomous, level 5, right off the gate, no human needed, but as these massive complex projects often go, it didn't quite go according to plan.
They're still going to come out with a car in 2026, but it won't be a self-driving vehicle?
Full level 5 autonomous driving, that's a dream. I think it's going to be at least 20, 30 years, if not even in our lifetime.
As it's well documented, one of Apple's big weaknesses is AI. It's really behind Google, Amazon Alexa, and others. And a well-known Apple analyst, John Gruber, hit the spot with his description that relates to the car. Love this quote. How can division behind Siri, a product that gets confused about what you mean by what time is it in London, make a car that safely drives around a parking lot, let alone roads? This car, as smart as Siri, sounds like a threat, not a selling point. Ben Thompson, another great Apple analyst, said something similar. I have a hard time imagining Apple is anywhere close to being competitive when it comes to autonomous vehicles. Indeed.
So the biggest new detail we have is that Apple has scaled back from a level 5 to a level 4 car.
So after a few years under Kevin Lynch, Apple's Project Titan scaled back their goals, trying to make the car actually reach the market.
That means you're going to get full autonomous, full self-driving functionality, but only in certain areas, that being, at least to start, freeways and highways. So the idea of this Apple car operating on city streets, that's not going to happen.
At the end of 2022, we got a glimpse of what this car should have been from a Bloomberg report by Mark Gurman. It would be powered by onboard computer system codenamed Denali, after the tallest mountain peak in North America. The processor's performance is about 4 times Apple's highest-end Mac chips combined, and Apple was going to use a combination of LiDAR and radar sensors along with cameras to help the car determine its location, see driving lanes, and assess how far it is from other objects and people. That's different from Tesla that relies on just cameras. In addition to the onboard hardware, the system has a cloud-based component for some artificial intelligence processing. Apple expected to price the car for more than $120,000, and then later they looked at reducing the price to $100,000, putting it in the price range at the entry-level version of Model S from Tesla and EQS from Mercedes, but they haven't even settled on the design, with the project being at pre-prototype stage.
But they're not quite there with the final designs yet?
Not there with the final designs yet. This car is still in a pre-prototype stage, so I don't know what it looks like. They don't even know what it looks like under this new direction.
But while the team at Project Titan was hard at work, the industry was changing. In particular, 3 key shifts were happening. The shift from internal combustion engine to electric and moving away from human driving to self-driving, and a longer-term transition from car ownership to cars as a service. Apple as a tech company was well positioned to bring a car to market into EV category, which are basically computers on wheels, but their lack of self-driving expertise and a potential for cars turning into a commodity where we don't own them, but we subscribe to them, that's the polar opposites to success for Apple.
The latest issue is apparently if Apple doesn't start acquiring the right companies to do this in the immediate future, it's going to have to bump its timeline back significantly, and we're not going to see it for the next couple of years.
Although making the car made some sense for Apple given their expertise in design, computer chips, software, LiDAR scanners, and marketing, it was also an odd direction given that success of the company was in making personalized computers of increasingly smaller size. They focused on doing a few things and doing them well, and the car was massive complexity, and it just didn't fit in.
I think Apple's problem is that it's so successful elsewhere, to do the car the way it wants to do it is kind of a risk. If people start dying in Apple car accidents, or maybe the car's a massive flop, the reputational damage is huge.
Back in July 2022, the Information blog published a report where they mentioned how Tim Cook rarely visited the offices of Project Titan in Santa Clara, California, and that the project employees were saying that CEO's distant leadership has hurt the whole project and, quote, it lacked a singular figure who could clearly define and articulate what the product should be. That is the biggest weakness of the project, an absence of a leader like Steve Jobs. Take this example. Chris Moore, who previously was Tesla director of Autopilot program, has left Apple and he joined another startup where he was leading a team of software developments there because he didn't want to be a cog in a massive machine, right? Which is Apple become today, especially when the goals of the project are not clear. Why spend years of your life on doing that? Legendary billionaire investor Charlie Munger, last year he said that Apple as a company is ungodly well managed. It's true, but it's not enough when you're trying to do something that nobody else did in a monumentally complex industry like cars. Apple analyst Min-Chi Kuo just recently said that it's unlikely that Apple Car will be able to go into mass production within the next few years. The same was backed by Bloomberg analyst Mark Gurman, saying that Apple has significantly scaled back the car project and are no longer planning to release the vehicle. I mean, not surprising at all. In the end, perhaps the best piece of evidence where Apple is going as a company is a Vision Pro headset. The personalized computer. Yes, it looks odd. Yes, you're never likely going to put it on your head on the plane, but this is the type of product is what Apple does best. It's personal, it's portable, it fits right into Apple ecosystem. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, where we're at. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing for future content like that. And I'll see you, as always, in the next video.